What the hell is going on this cover? That's as good an intro as any other when you're faced with something like this. Pat Spaziante has a real talent for making covers with a lot of loving detail put into its environments, and in general, it really tends to show when he's drawing stuff that's a little bit more out there. Robots, machines, aliens, or today's cover where he renders a goopy, gelatinous, disgusting-looking environment around Sonic in such lovely detail, it makes me wish that I hadn't decided to start looking over this issue while eating breakfast. Sonic's own expression here pretty much sums up the situation perfectly. Opening to the first page, however, we discover that we're in the hands of Gallagher for the story and Mannequin Harvo for pencils and inks, so you can be sure that despite the suggestion of eldritch horror on the front cover, comedy is going to be the rule for this story. Sonic starts off by entering the Freedom Fighters HQ and is surprised to see it completely empty. While he's wondering what the heck is going on, Rotor ties a surgical mask over his face, not looking so hot. In fact, it's revealed that literally everyone except Sonic is now sick with some sort of nasty virus, caught from eating fast food from McRobos. When Sonic asks why they would order food from a place that was so obviously a front for Robotnik, Rotor answers that they were just tired of eating leftover chili dogs. One would have thought you'd have plenty of self-sustaining food on your own, but I'm not really one to judge when I don't have the best diet around. Sonic decides, however, that he has to find a way to get rid of the virus at the microscopic level, and decides to go all Incredible Journey on us by pulling out a callback to issue 4, when Sonic shrunk down that invincible robotic newt. Now there's a detail I didn't expect to come back. Good on you, comic. Now shrunken down far enough, and seeing the world in far, far more detail than necessary. Seriously, it's impressive that they put in so much detail, but I didn't need to see every little contour of Rotor's muzzle like this. Sonic dashes into Rotor's body to go and see if he can take care of the germs, quickly losing his way, but then he comes across Rotor's antibody. Wow. The antibody states that the virus, known as the French virus, seriously, wow, is just too much for her to handle, and so she's given up on actually trying to defend against it. After trying and failing to give the body a pep talk, Sonic heads into the vital organs in an attempt to fight off the infection where he faces his first real challenge. Sores! French sores. Oh my god, the puns are getting worse. And this panel of Sonic covered in gook isn't helping. While Sonic spins away all the sores, he finds himself being knocked away by the big boss of the viruses. The parasite. Are you kidding me? Seriously, are you kidding me? How much longer are we going to put up with these puns? Anyway, Sonic is soon raring for a fight, but soon finds himself double-teamed by Paris and his bodyguard, Fever. Really? We've had antibodies and French virus and parasite, and you couldn't think up any sort of pun for the fever? I am sorely disappointed. Sonic does put up a valiant effort in attempting to fight the two off, but it's kind of hard to fight something that's made of pure flame, so Sonic's punch only gets him singed knuckles.
Huh? My hand's on fire! Help!
No, actual singed knuckles. And just as Paris is about to bash Sonic's skull in with a freaking crowbar, who should show up but Rotor's antibody, who says she was inspired to come back after witnessing Sonic's brave, unselfish act. You mean the act that he told you he was going to do because you were too demoralized to do your own damn job, so you let him do it instead? You know, it's a good thing that our immune systems aren't actually like this, or we would never survive. The antibody quickly takes Parasite out of the picture with a good slam in the head, and Sonic manages to put out Fever by pulling all the oxygen out of him with a sonic tornado. The antibody gets in touch with the other Freedom Fighters' immune systems via her one-cell cellular phone. Why? And then sets to work exterminating the other germs. Task done, Sonic dashes out of Rotor, using the power of Snot to get back into the shrink ray and reversing the process. And as everyone gets up recovering from sickness, Sonic promises to go and get them all something to eat. While they protest, not exactly in the mood for chili dogs, it's revealed that he was actually getting them bowls of his aunt's special chicken soup. Though Rotor is quick to tell us that what makes it so special is that it's made with chili dogs. Ew. This is a cute little story. It does feel like something from much earlier in the comics run, like early or mid-teens level, especially with all the puns, But that's actually a little refreshing, and it doesn't clash nearly as much as some of the other ones we've had as of late. However, it also feels really simple and quick. Despite the page count and its status as an A story, it feels a lot shorter than that. It does give Mannequin Harvo a chance to show off some really impressive artwork in the backgrounds as Sonic travels through Rotor, and I do genuinely like the look of it, even if it does get a little squishy at times. Not a whole lot to say on this one, kind of speaks for itself honestly, but I did find myself smiling a lot while reading this one. Maybe my pun tolerance is just getting better. It's certainly a lot better than my 2-page story tolerance, and speaking of, that's a segue. I am so tired of these things, I really am. There is a very fine line between building mystery and anticipation for future events and just dragging things out for the sake of filling pages, and these shorts cross that line already. At least the one in the last issue actually felt like it moved the story forward slightly, re-establishing what happened to the Chaotix and shedding some light on Archimedes' intentions, however vague. This, on the other hand, is yet another mysterious cloaked figure, once again just monologuing to themselves while watching Knuckles about how Knuckles has no idea what's going on, berating him for failing to see the bigger picture. This one is even briefer than the previous because it's made up of large panels that take up lots of space, showing that there was barely enough material here to justify the 2 pages it got. Look, they don't even bother drawing everything out, instead using panels from past stories to fill space on the monitors in the first panel. I will compliment the story on one thing. Ken's usual problems with anatomy aren't in effect here, mostly because of the low light and the fact that whoever we're seeing here is covered in a loose robe that makes it difficult to discern their body type. The gradients, meant to represent the glow of the TV monitors, however, look a little clumsy and are applied haphazardly at times. Why would there be a glow on his hood here and not on his hand, for example? This might be the low point of these so-called Knuckles solo stories so far. So it's a good thing that the follow-up is a decent enough palate cleanser that despite being written by Ken Penders, it doesn't suffer from his usual writing problems, mostly because it goes completely against his writing style, instead feeling more like he adapted it from an idea from Gallagher. The fact that there's a special thanks credited to Thomas Penders, I'm guessing they had something to do with it, but I couldn't find any information confirming that. Anyway, it's another really basic fast-paced story that's meant to be a bit of self-contained fun. Sonic, Rotor, Antoine, and Tails are out on the ice having a friendly game of hockey, when they're suddenly greeted by Snively and a small group of SWAT bots. He insists that he's just there to have a friendly game with them, stating that he doesn't exactly enjoy his job working for Robotnik. And since playing sports isn't really allowed in Robotropolis, he'd like a chance to just enjoy himself for a change. This does give another sort of dimension to Snively, if only for one story, but it's not something that we're really going to see again, and it sort of clashes with his own megalomaniacal machinations that we saw a few issues ago, and definitely goes against the characterization he would get much later on as a near-complete monster, quite comparable to his uncle. While they're apprehensive at first, Sonic's willing to give him a chance, in the spirit of cooperation or something like that, but unbeknownst to them, Robotnik still has his plot convenience monitors installed, and is watching the proceedings, horrified to see his nephew playing a friendly game with his arch-enemy. But then, he quickly decides that Snively must be doing this to lure him into a false sense of security, and then he introduces us all to his brand new technology, plot convenience loudspeakers. Despite there not being any sort of area where they could be, Robotnik starts speaking to everyone present via mic, offering a little wager to Sonic & Co. If Sonic can win the game against Snively and the SWAT bots, they go free, but if they lose, then they willingly submit to roboticization. Despite this being a fool's bet and a flim-flam, and Sonic having absolutely no reason to take it, he does so without even talking it over with the rest of the Freedom Fighters. Getting super speedy Cider Squeezy 6000 flashbacks. Of course, the robots gain an early lead by cheating and smacking the others around, but before they can even get a chance to launch an attack on the goal, Sonic not only steals the puck, much to Snively's absolute delight, but also scores a winning goal. The one goal that we were actually shown. Despite Robotnik's claim that he is a sore loser, he decides to surprisingly honor his promise and let them walk away without any resistance, with Snively more than happy to see his uncle humiliated despite his team losing. This story is harmless, but it also feels really bizarre. Unlike the usual humorous one-shots that we get like this story almost reads like fanfiction, with odd characterization, especially with the villains, and with most of the other characters just there for a line or two and then they're just there for the rest of the story. I'm just speculating here, but with how weird this feels, and with a special thanks to one of Ken's relatives at the start, I'm willing to bet that this was a kid's idea that just got expanded into a backup story as a favor. And given the fact that this wouldn't be the last time that Ken would use the comic as a means of including nods to his family, I can totally believe that that's what happened. And I know what you're all thinking about, and no, I'm not going to. So with all of that taken care of, we're moving on to issue 34 and beyond, and moving into our first 3-issue storyline. I'll see you all next time, everyone.